I'm glad I showed up. Okay.
Yeah.
If you were giving me a check for $1 million, if you would give any teacher here, their list would be a mile long because they have such a personal relationship with all their students. So that's the first thing.
I would say we need more teacher positions. There's only one high school English teacher unless they take online courses. And so they don't get a very diverse education. I do the best I can. I teach them a variety of things. But I think if there were another English teacher, another social studies teacher, another math teacher, we could probably utilize our strengths to give our students a more well-rounded education in that particular content area.
We get $100 for items for our classroom or things that we need in the classroom for the year. When we spend that money, it usually takes maybe one small box that we get from that $100.
I get a $100 budget at the beginning of the year. Well, I can eat up a $100 budget without scratching the surface of what we need in there. Just little things like dry erase boards for them to work on individually, clipboards for them to work with. If they could have laptops, oh, that would be incredible. If we could have new novel sets instead of books that are falling apart. If we could have complete sets of textbooks instead of, so we could send them home instead of making kids share textbooks. That's a start.
I also think for the school, kindergarten up, we could really benefit from a reading specialist. So I think that for me, there would be certain positions that I would like to see money, if we could get it, go toward those positions. It would also help to decrease class sizes, which helps with things like differentiation and individualization of, assignments, and you can really work more one-on-one with students.
I would tell people to make a new water slide that would go all the way around the school, and whenever you fell down, you would fall on some cushions, really soft cushions. Here's a supply of bubblegum.
I would focus on stipends or increasing salaries for faculty and staff for retention. I would focus on retention and what we could do to use funds for retention, because what happens is, because we live in the area we do, which is outside that reality we talked about, country clubs, resort community, it's very difficult for teachers to be able to afford to live here, and therefore it makes it very difficult to entice very qualified people to drive here. And if they drive here, it doesn't last for very long, because they're driving from probably 30 plus minutes away.
So the first part of my check would be, okay, so I might get teary-eyed on this, and I don't mean to. We have children at this school who, like on Maslow's hierarchy, those basic needs aren't met. All of those things that I take for granted every day, it's survival.
You don't know of all the things that these kids need. And when I went to work, of course you don't work for the money. My salary's public, so I make $2,000 a month, and I probably put half of that back into my classroom.
After that's done, then I would think talking to my students and seeing if they could dream about what was added to our classrooms. Most of the teachers here spend out of their own pockets, and I mean across the board. And in each classroom, the needs are so different. But talking to our students and say, what could we add to this classroom to make your learning more vibrant and more alive? And for some, it might be things like clipboards or science kits, those kind of things. For others, it might be, hey, we need more manipulatives or toys. We need to be able to go on field trips. We need to be able to see this world in a way that we haven't seen before. A lot of my students have never been off this hill, let alone to Asheville or beyond. That Most of my students don't go on vacation, so what they get here is what they're going to get as far as life experiences. And so being able to provide those kinds of things, more of those field trips and more guest speakers coming in, and just opening up the world so they know it's a big world and we want to suck it all in as much as we can.
Oh my goodness. I would create in every classroom this incredible experiential learning environment where kids could go in and have access. It would be laid out like Google does their workspace, where they could go in and would have the computers over in this corner, and they would have their investigation station somewhere else where they had the hands-on activities that they could do, where teamwork is happening throughout. They've got the digital media where they can manipulate things and make videos and talk about what they're learning and share it with people across the world and be able to engage life the way that we do as adults in the 21st century, where we really get online and talk to people. You're sharing photos in a second where they can go on and look and be able to dissect a heart and know what that really looks like, because they have those available. We just don't have it here.
That check would go in a hurry. Can you make it $2 million?